welcome to You Still Have Time. We're your hosts. I'm Hope.
And I'm Harold.
And we welcome you to this episode that we're calling How Old is Too Old? We'd also like to welcome all of our new listeners. If this is your first time listening to us, welcome. We hope that you'll enjoy what you hear and come back again. And of course, for those of you who are regular listeners, all three of you, I think we're up to three now.
Yeah, we've gained another listener.
Thank you for continuing to support us. As I said, this episode we're calling How Old is Too Old? And Harold, you want to tell folks why we came across this?
Yes, we happened to watching television a week or two ago, and we saw that Nancy Pelosi had decided not to run again for re-election. And, of course, we wanted to just check out her age. Nancy Pelosi is 85.
Right. And by the time she would run for re-election, she'd be 86, almost 87.
And I don't know if Nancy is a listener to You Still Have Time. And we don't want to suggest that just because she's 85, she should arbitrarily decide not to run. But we just started to think about the age 85, or as we get older, when do you say, maybe I need to step down?
He says step down. I say sit down. Know when to sit down.
Know when to sit down.
In any case, this is not a criticism of Nancy Pelosi.
Not at all.
Certainly not. She's a remarkable woman and has had a remarkable career and impact on this country. This is not a partisan message in any way. And it's certainly not just about those in Congress.
Right.
But Harold did do some research on the age groups. Oh, and let me also say that, yes, this is still, you still have time. And we still believe that regardless of your age, you can have a full life that you continue to do the things that you love. We're just saying that you have to be honest with yourself at some point and know when it is time to sit down.
So I took a quick look at the numbers of the members in Congress. There are 112 members of Congress over the age of 70. There are 11 between the ages of 80 and 90. And there's one member of Congress who is 90, I think he's 91 years old. And we began to think about it. Now, Hope and I are reflecting on our own abilities and capabilities. And we know that we're not the same as we were 40 years ago or 30 years ago.
Or 20 years ago even.
So I'm just imagining this 91-year-old making decisions that impact the rest of Americans.
In 2025, with all of the issues that some of the things we've talked about here about older people and the use of technology, for example. Does a 91-year-old or an 81-year-old, for that matter, really understand AI? Now, I'm not saying there are exceptions to every rule.
Right.
We just don't believe that there are 112 exceptions that are currently serving in Congress. And it goes beyond, certainly, people running for office.
We looked at jobs that require retirement, that have mandatory retirement ages. There are 7 jobs. Did I say 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7 jobs that have mandatory retirement ages. Airline pilot, air traffic controller, diplomats. I don't know why. It would seem to me you could be. Anyway, National Park law enforcement rangers. They have a mandatory retirement age of 57. FBI agents, firefighters, and the numbers for firefighters are different depending upon your jurisdiction, and judges. So we thought that, well, if these jobs have mandatory retirement ages, maybe Congress should have a mandatory retirement age?
Yeah, and again, this is not some political ploy here. And it's certainly not partisan in any way, because there are older people serving in all on from all parties. But I think that what we really started thinking about is how we look at ourselves as we age. And if we can be really honest with ourselves and say, even if we have the desire to do certain things, that we might not be best suited to implement that certainly in a professional way. And if you're doing something because you enjoy doing it, and you're volunteering, or it's a hobby, that's one thing. But if you are in a professional role with responsibilities that, especially, I'm sure all professionals have responsibilities that impact other people, then you really, I think, need to think about, if no mandatory testing is involved with your profession, you just need to be honest with yourselves and think about what you're doing.
Yeah, I think at the core of this conversation, we're going to keep returning to the concepts of knowing when you as an individual can no longer perform whatever that task is as well as you need to be. For instance, driving. I think that most of us of a certain age realize that we don't see, and I don't, even if you have the best of vision, you don't see quite as well as you used to. Have you made the adjustments? Do you limit night driving? Do you limit driving at the busier times of days? Those are the types of accommodations I think that we all have to make for our aging. And if you're not making those accommodations, are you putting yourself at risk? Are you putting others at risk? Are you having more of these little fender benders than you ever have in your life? Is it always someone else's fault? Or could you be the reason why you're running into the walls, or backing into your garage, or backing into other things? I mean, again, we're just asking each one of us to be honest.
Well, they say with age comes wisdom, and I think that wisdom is demonstrated when you recognize your limitations. Uh, there are states that, of course, have license requirements for older people, and I'm not against that. We don't live in a state that does, but some require vision and road tests
Right.
for drivers over a certain age. They prohibit renewal by mail for drivers over a certain age, or they shorten the renewal cycle. So if you're in a state where you only have to renew your driver's license every 3 years, maybe they shorten it to every year so that they can get a look at you and see if you are still have full capability of driving safely.
I think that to be real, we'll get down to real specifics, and I'm going to just talk about men for a second, because I know that for us guys, it's hard to deal with the fact that we can no longer do what we used to be able to do. I know some of us think that we're just as strong at 70 as we were at 20, and we go out there as soon as those first few snowflakes fall, and we grab our shovel and we go out there and shovel, or attempt to shovel, the driveway. Well, we saw some numbers from CDC, and on average, 100 people die each year from shoveling snow. And I'm sure pretty much all of those were men.
I would say so. And in doing the research on that, did you know that the age when you should start being concerned about shoveling snow specifically is a whole lot younger than any of us could imagine? Actually, the age is 45. Shoveling snow is so tough on your body and on your systems, both your cardiac systems, your pulmonary systems. There's so much involved in just shoveling snow that they actually recommend that starting at age 45 that you begin to ease down. So imagine a 70-year-old, you know, 6 inches of snow fell and you're trying to dig the car out of the driveway, or you're trying to clear a path to, out of the house to the street. Be careful. It might be better to give that job to the 13-year-old that lives down the block who's trying to make some extra cash.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So those are the types of things that we want to just put out there that you can no longer do, whether it be shoveling snow or being able to hear. If
Yes, because everything's not associated with death necessarily.
right, but just even simple things that when I mean, we all know people. Well, I shouldn't say we all know, but many of us know people who probably need some help in the hearing department. I know for myself personally, it took me a while for Hope to say, "Well, why is this television so loud?" And I'm like, "Well, it's because I just didn't want to admit to myself that my hearing was fading."
And not only hearing, I mean, glasses. A lot of folks, you know, I, early on in your 40s, usually the eyesight starts to change, and all of a sudden, the print of everything looks so tiny.
Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, I only need glasses to see"? Like, what are you talking about? You only need glasses to see. Okay.
And another big one, vanity comes into that. So certainly, as Harold said, hearing aids. People who don't want to wear hearing aids because people will see, and that will mean that they're old. I'm making quotation marks here. They're old because they have these hearing aids on. I mean, hearing aids now are so tiny that someone would have to be looking for them. And certainly for women, if you have hair, if you don't have your hair cut very short, you can camouflage hearing aids very easily. But canes is a big one. And I will admit that I think that if and when, or when and if I get to the point where my walking is unsteady, that I'm going to feel a certain way about using a cane, because to me, using a cane means, ooh, you're elderly, because that's what the image that I have in my head of being elderly. But I hope I'm not foolish enough to risk falling or and hurting myself even more by not using a cane.
We call this podcast "You Still Have Time." And really, when we set out to create this podcast, we wanted to stress to our community that just because we reached a certain age, you don't have to stop doing what you love to do. However, you need to think about it and do it with, I guess, with the wisdom that you've learned. You can't run if you're a runner. More than likely, you're not going to be running at the same pace you did when you were in your 20s. If you're a cyclist, you're not going to be riding at the same pace. Whatever you did if you're a weightlifter, you're not going to be lifting the same amounts of weights at the same and with the same frequency. But doesn't mean you have to stop. It's just that you have to use the wisdom that you've acquired over these years to make sense of it. Don't spend these years trying to relive your 20 or 30-year-old self.
Trying to hold on to your youth.
Right.
Youth is not all it's cracked up to be, and you know it because you've been through it.
Right.
It wasn't an easy thing to be. Young is not an easy thing to be.
Yeah, and then don't fight this. I mean, if you need glasses, get glasses. If you need a cane, walk with a cane. If you need hearing aid, get a hearing aid. I mean, let's
be honest with yourself.
Be honest with yourself, and I guess that's really what we're saying. Be honest with yourself. I know sometimes it's difficult, but I think that if you do that, you will definitely enjoy these years. You'll get the most out of this part of your life.
And we think that each of us would really prefer to make our own decisions about when to step down, as opposed to being forced to. I'm sure no one wants someone else to come in and say, you must stop. Make that decision. That's part of being independent in your older years, knowing and having the wisdom to make that decision for yourself.
I think that says it pretty much says it all.
Well, thank you for listening. As always, we're looking for your comments.
Your feedback.
Yes, your feedback. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions about future episodes, please let us know what they are. Of course, we want you to follow us wherever you're listening to this podcast, and you can reach out to us in various ways.
You can send us an email at youstillhavetimepodcast@gmail.com. You can reach us wherever. You can leave us a text message wherever you listen to us.
You can leave a voicemail message right where you're listening, wherever you are listening to this podcast. Right at the bottom, there's a link that says Speak Pipe. I think you can leave a 90-second voicemail message.
That is correct.
And there's also space for you to leave a comment.
That's right. So we have plenty of options and places where you can reach out to us. Please, we really need the feedback. We have trouble coming up with new topics, and we want your involvement. I mean, we really set up this podcast for us, for our community. Please comment, send us email, talk to us.
Yes, we need you.
So I think with that...
Oh, should we give them a preview?
Oh.
Yes, we have exciting news.
Well, I don't know how exciting it is, but it's news.
A couple of episodes ago, we had our first guest. Well, for our next episode, we're going to have sort of a round table.
Yeah, even though we don't have a round table, but
we don't have a round table, but it's going to be a conversation with a group of seniors. That's all we're going to say. We won't even tell you what we're going to be talking about. How's that?
Ooh,
no, but I don't know. We don't have a teaser out there yet, so no, you don't know.
No, you'll find out. You'll have to tune in.
You'll have to tune in. But until that time,
you still have time.
You still have time. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.